Hey, what's up, everybody? BDO 44 coming at you with another video. All right, so the score was 131-126. The Lakers did not get the victory in New Orleans. Smoothie King, they beat AD. I'm sure they're very happy about it. They split the season series with the Lakers thus far, with a game ahead next Wednesday or something like that against them. Something like that. Very soon, we'll be seeing them. Um, Honestly, you guys, the Los Angeles Lakers had a really nice first half where we played some nice rotations, had size on the floor and all that. And we got away from that. I think now correct me if I'm wrong, everybody, but I think Jonas Valanciunas going out with a knee injury forced us to make some changes to the way that we were defending them, and as a result, they were able to space the floor a bit better. A guy like Herb Jones kind of stepped out and just gave them a different offensive attack that we had trouble adjusting to. Um, that's the kind way of putting it. The not so kind way of putting it is Darvin Ham cost us the game yet again with bad rotations and bad coaching. Um, that's just the band-aid snatching way of putting it, man. He was bad tonight, and it reflected in what was a really tough basketball game to lose. Yet another really tough basketball game to lose. You know, it's one of those things where it's like, all right, if you want to know what really happened to the Lakers, you look at Thomas Bryant's minutes, you look at Wenyen Gabriel's minutes, and you look at Max Christie's minutes. Then I want you to go ahead and take a look at Patrick Beverley's minutes, and take a look at Dennis Schroeder's minutes, and then take a look at the production they provided you. That is what happened tonight. That's it. That's all. Leaning on Dennis Schroeder when he's going 1 for 5, gave us 10 assists. Tired of this, man. I am tired of this. And then Patrick Beverley was running around. He did a little minimal stuff. He was loud, but, first half was really good for him. Second half, we didn't see him as much. But overall, he ended up with 27 minutes. And I think Dennis Schroeder ended up with like 34 minutes, and that's the production he gave us, the 10 assists. It was really great. Braun 1 for 7 from behind the arc. That also contributed a great deal to why we did not win, man. We cannot settle for shots like that and expect ourselves to be successful at all. You just had too little production from guys you really needed to see on the floor. And on the other end, you got to give credit to guys like Brandon Ingram, Trey Murphy, who really just took care of business, man. Alvarado played extremely well, got another one of those steals. And Wenyen Gabriel, when you give a guy minutes and he hasn't played in a couple days, it's very small room for error. And he came in and he really, messed up by inbounding the ball straight to Alvarado, and kind of triggered the momentum that I think ultimately set them in the right direction. You saw a great game from CJ McCollum as well. I said he needs to average 7 assists. He gave them 7 assists. They won. I don't think that's a coincidence. He needs to be more of a passer than he was tonight. It helped. Trey Murphy hit 4 threes tonight. He's one of the best shooters in the world. I told everybody that's what he is. Exactly what he is. I just want to take my hat off to Brandon Ingram. He's just a fantastic player, man. He closed us out, hitting shots left and right, dunking the ball, just doing what he needed to do to hold up his end of the bargain on his side of the fence. Larry Nance Jr. as well, as I thought, high efficiency night for him. And it's just one of those situations where it wasn't as much about what the Lakers did. It was more so about the Pelicans putting their foot down at home and taking advantage of a Laker team that was not really able to get out of its own way as usual. I'm exhausted of my basketball team, everybody, and I know we're about to make a big trade, hopefully to get one of my favorite players, and it'll rejuvenate me a great deal. But night in and night out, when you see them do this, you don't even really get disappointed anymore. You just sit there and you watch it. And I told everybody what was going to happen. I was like, this dude is going to run players because of the minutes. It has to be Dennis Schroeder, Patrick Beverley, Russell Westbrook, and Lonnie Walker. He must play them all of their minutes. Now, why they get their priority over our forwards is a head scratcher to me. It's a head scratcher to me. But for whatever reason, we're hell-bent on making sure that we prioritize those guards and their minutes. And as a result, we go down with the ship. As I say every night, that on paper doesn't look very good for your team. You're not expected to do a whole lot with that if you just look at the numbers. And so when we run it out there and it doesn't work, it's what you expect to see. That's the part that bothers me the most. It's like, it's not like you expect us to do anything for you. You know, we had so many different situations tonight where Patrick Beverley was sealed off on, you know, Brandon Ingram, single coverage down the stretch of a basketball game. You know, situations where it's only 3 minutes left and you got your smaller guards on the floor, no rebounders, no Thomas Bryant. I mean, it's just like you're asking to get beat. This is not deeper than that. You're just asking for the other team to take over. And look, this is a Pelicans team that's on a 10-game losing streak, but they're getting healthier. They've played some close games in this losing streak. They've played some replete teams in this losing streak, teams that may have had their number, that kind of thing. So it's a little scared by the fact that they have missed some guys. Now with the Jonas going down with the knee, I hope it ain't that bad, man, because they're getting hit with so many injuries. I don't wish that on any team. We've had years like that, but it is what it is, man. We do need them to lose games, and unfortunately, we didn't help ourselves by beating them ourselves. All this time we sit up here rooting for them to lose, only for us to come up and get into their house, have a good game. LeBron James is dunking all over him. Anthony Davis starts off so efficient. And then we decide to lean on Dennis Schroeder. And I'm going to tell you something. It's just like I said about Russell Westbrook, you guys, and this is the truth. You got to know when to play him and when not to. And it's just a roll of the dice either way. Tonight was one of those nights where he was really, really contributing a great deal. He was playing loose. He was playing comfortably. And we subbed him out of the game early in the third quarter. And I looked at his body language, and he kind of nodded his head like, okay, all right. And something told me that he's going to be vindicated with that okay, all right. Because this is the night you should have played him. This is the night you needed him. This was the night he was giving you what you should have had. And you removed him from the floor without taking into account what you saw. And you proceeded to do things that made no sense. And this is what we do with all the players on this team. It's not just Russell in this night. It's what we do with Winyan every night. It's what we do with Max most nights. It's what we've done with Thomas Bryant. They play well. We don't play them. We've done it with Troy Brown. They play well. We don't play them. And it's like, what are guys... What is it that they have to do to gain Darvin Ham's, playing time? What does it take? Because from where I am sitting, guys have done what I would want them to do to be able to start. A guy like Troy Brown should be starting now. After that 14-rebound game, that's it. He's a starter. You know, I didn't see Rui Hachimura in the fourth quarter. I thought he was playing well enough in this game. He was better in this game than he was in the last one. What's going on? Why we remove him? He was helping us with defense more than anything on that, and especially in the first quarter. I was loving the way he was flashing to BI and things like that. That's what we needed in the fourth quarter. That same way he was flashing, double teaming, helping LeBron James on BI. Where was that in the fourth? We don't see him in the fourth quarter. I'm sitting there watching Patrick Beverley hoisting up threes in the fourth. Like, bro, why am I living and dying with our smaller guys, coach? Dennis Schroeder didn't have it tonight, and you just left him out there in the fourth quarter down the stretch. You didn't have any other options. At this point, I'm certain the Lakers are not going to win a championship because the coach, who's in control of who's running on the floor, is not going to help us succeed, man. We cannot seem to get a lead that stays in our hands for any length of time because of his rotations. We also can't seem to win a game where we beat a team by more than 3 points because of his rotations. So this is just what the Lakers are going to be dealing with, whether we go ahead and get Kyrie Irving or not. He's still who he is. And unless we intend to replace him, I think we're going to be living with these type of results. You know, and I'm sorry to say that, but I don't feel a whole lot better about him than I did about Frank Vogel. This is about an equal situation at this point. I don't see no difference. I really don't. I'm just as frustrated. The problems are just the same. It's a lack of respect for size on both ends of the floor, and it's costing our team ball games in a time when we really need not to lose games. You're trying to make win now pieces that are going to send out assets that are going to, hurt us in the future, and we're okay with that. But if you're going to be bringing a player to a team that cannot win a championship because your coach can't make things work for us, it's not going to work out, man. Anthony Davis was on the floor playing well. We still didn't win the game. And he was inspired. I mean, this is a place he's supposed to be winning games. Smoothie King, we don't want him losing games there. I think it's one of those situations where in the first half I saw a recipe for success for the Lakers. We ran two-man game with LeBron James and Anthony Davis. A couple times. It can't be stopped. I don't know why we try so hard to score the ball in other ways without running that so much and forcing teams to stop it. You know what I mean? We got to spam that a little bit. I know you don't want to be predictable, but at the same time, even predictable has to be stopped. If a team can't stop it, why stop running it? Especially when we're running things repeatedly that don't work. You know, it's like, I respect Dennis Schroeder is going to be aggressive. Getting 10 assists is definitely needed. But if the efficiency isn't there shooting the ball, you know what I mean? We got to move on, man. We got to, again, Patrick Beverley, I didn't need to see him for 27 minutes. You know, move on. Troy Brown needed more minutes tonight. Rui Hachimura needed more minutes tonight. And obviously, the obvious centers that we have. I know it's difficult because Bron probably does not want to play the 3. Anthony Davis probably is best to play the 4. So it gets really tricky out there trying to make roster rotations make sense based on how this works. So I get it. But at the end of the day, Anthony Davis is going to have to play the 4 and LeBron James is going to have to play the 3 because we're going to need Wenyen Gabriel and Thomas Bryant to play the 5 at all times, man. This needs to be said because Anthony Davis and LeBron James have far too many times been left out there to be the power forward in the center, and they get out-rebounded. It's a mess, and the reason why it's a mess is because the other players on the floor are often guards. So there's no weak side rebounding. There's no weak side, nothing. Even if Anthony Davis is able to block a shot, LeBron James is able to maybe try to get the board. Whatever's going on to the side of them is Patrick Beverley undersized, Dennis Schroeder undersized, Russell Westbrook undersized. I mean, it never leaves them with enough size for them to be enough against bigs who they're undersized against. So the way that we strategized didn't work last year when we tried this. It never really works unless we have other big players on the floor, big point guards, big shooting guards. When you had KCP, Caruso, they help with those things. Lonzo, they help with those things. But if you don't have one of those type of guys on the floor and you're running around smaller dudes, it's very difficult for AD and Bron to match up with real centers in this league. So I know we want AD to play the center, but he's not. He's not a center, man. And I know we want Bron to be able to assist him as the strong power forward next to him, but it doesn't work. And so as long as we continue to try that, it's going to fail, and we're going to make our superstars frustrated because they're going to blame themselves for not succeeding. And it's not that. It's just that they need more size on the floor. And so I really believe LeBron James has always been a small forward, so it shouldn't be nothing for him to play small for us. And I've always thought that Anthony Davis is a natural force, so there should be no problem sliding those guys in there. But if Darvin Ham is not going to see that vision, he's going to suffer the consequences of doing this, just like Frank Vogel did. It doesn't work, man. And so I hope somebody that needs to hear this hears this, because I've said it a lot of times, but I think tonight was a good example. You're going to see sequences where they were down there with 3 guards, and the lead just dissipated while they were on the floor. And it was because Valanciunas and guys like Larry Nance were just rebounding over him, man. So we got to be honest about that. Speaking of rebounds, you got to give credit to Anthony Davis, 14 boards, 30-plus points. He really had a fantastic game, multiple defensive stats. You just love what you saw there. Most of it came in the first half, though. And so that's where I say I think we got him the ball a little more in the second half. I'm not going to sit up here and say we were overly deficient in getting him the ball. I just don't think he was overly efficient in hitting shots, and I think a lot of that was like us leaning on Dennis Schroeder to just take care of stuff, and he was just not. He would be aggressive, brick a shot, come down. Bron would probably come down there, maybe make a layup. It was that kind of thing. So we got away from Anthony Davis, and when we did go to him, he would brick. So that did not help. Just couldn't get our continuity going in that fourth quarter. 20 points in the fourth quarter, that's just not it. And then you look at who was sitting down during that quarter, and you understand what went wrong. You just did not see the players on the floor that would help you otherwise win those situations, especially if you got Brandon Ingram and Jones on the floor and, Larry Nance. They just provided themselves the requisite amount of length necessary to help CJ just pick us apart and BI pick us apart. And our coach just left us at a disadvantage with point guards all over the floor. And that's it, man. I'm so frustrated thinking about how Brandon Ingram was able to just kind of shoot over Patrick Beverly out there. Even though Patrick did a fantastic job, I really thought he did a good job. But I mean, you just have to laugh at what you saw there, man. It's almost a whole foot advantage, and we were serious. Like, we were really serious. And you look to the left of him, you see Anthony Davis over there, sealed off, letting it happen. You look to the right of him, you see LeBron James, sealed off on another defender, letting it happen. I'm like, this is really our strategy. Like, we actually are considering this to be something we want. And I'm just sitting there saying, Darvin Ham must be fired. Like, this is a fireable offense, man. It's 2 minutes and 50 seconds left in the game, and this is something I'm actually seeing with my own eyes with a team who's fighting to get out of 13th place with win now players and no picks to show for anything in their future. And you're trying to tell me that that's a situation they want in a key pivotal game at the beginning of February? On the road, at the tail end of your road trip, you want Patrick Beverly, one of your point guards, guarding one of the best offensive players in the league, who happens to be about 6'10" with a 7'3" wingspan, who specializes in shooting over people? I mean, I've seen footage of Brandon Ingram when he used to play for the Lakers. In practice, he lined up the entire team and shot over all of them. He scored on everybody. The whole team. And so what I'm saying to you is, you think he's going to have trouble shooting over Patrick Beverly? I mean, the level of stupidity you have to really, like, engage in to actually believe that's going to be successful for you. Like, it's a very low level, man. I'm telling you. Remedial. And so that's why I just choose to say people want to lose. This is why I choose to say people want the desired result. Because I refuse to believe that they actually think this is something that's going to be successful. Especially when they keep hearing people say that no one agrees with it. And so I'm a Laker fan, but if I weren't a Laker fan, I would be betting on the Lakers to lose a lot of nights, man. A lot of nights. I would have made some money tonight, y'all. But this was a no-brainer. Pelicans on a 10-game losing streak, but getting healthier at home against a Laker team that's going to always dumb it down. And when they do, they're going to find a way to lose down the stretch of the basketball game because they can't win close games. So they condition themselves to lose by way of how they play. It's crazy, man. You would think because you aren't any good at close games, you would try to blow people out. Not us. We give ourselves a size mismatch the entire game to keep it close. The desired result. So I'm cool, man. I'm watching what happens. Everybody got their minutes. I'm sure Clutch is very happy because their clients got their minutes. That's how I look at it. I'm cool, man. This is nonsense. Congratulations to the Pelicans on snapping their 10-game losing streak. Well deserved. They played hard. They played better than the Lakers in the fourth quarter, particularly. And Dennis Schroeder. That pass down the stretch, when you're trying to force the ball to Anthony Davis after that steal, man, these are the type of things. We had timeouts, if I'm not mistaken. You know what I mean? Just basketball IQ stuff. People know how to lose. They don't know how to win. The things that instinctually lean them in to whatever it is they're going to do has them doing stuff that plays into the defense's hands. That's what I'm saying. Darvin's small ball instincts. It's a loser instincts, bro. Your instincts are telling you exactly how to fail. You gotta know that when you're leaning in on that. And if it's not his call, if it's the Knights of the Round Table call, this is what comes of this. This is what happens when you put professionals on the floor at a disadvantage, size-wise. It don't matter what team it is, and I don't think it really matters what level they're playing at. If they can't rebound the ball against pros, it's over. Easy buckets, second chance points, fouls are coming. It's just how the game goes. And if you ignore the foul part, the fact that you're going to have a hard time defending those bigger people and you're going to foul because of it, it's like you're just going to lose each and every time. And I think that's the part we forget about. So, here's what it is, man. The Los Angeles Lakers play against themselves. They're their own worst enemy. You can't blame Russell Westbrook tonight, Lakers. Can't do that because you didn't sub him in. And he was balling out for you very, very efficiently. And he probably would have won this game for you if he would have left him out there. I hate to say that because there's some nights where it's the opposite, but this ain't that night. This ain't that night. And I think Thomas Bryant played well with the 6 minutes that he was given. I think he was given like 6 minutes. Saw him rebound the ball, saw him dunk the ball, saw him sit down, saw him never play again. When Gabriel, like I said, after he did that, he has no rope because, forwards, they can't make mistakes on this team. And Patrick Beverly and Dennis Schroeder and Russell Westbrook can make mistakes 176 times, and they will always have their minutes. But Troy Brown, Wenyen Gabriel, Christie, y'all get one turnover, one mistake, and I will see you next week. That's how this works. Do I agree with it? No. No, ladies and gentlemen, I do not agree with that at all. But I think if you follow me, you already know that. So, yeah, that's what it is, man. Trey Murphy. You know, Valanciunas, get well soon, brother. Hopefully that ain't too serious. I got you on way too many fantasy teams for me to be celebrating any type of situation such as that. And he was balling out, too. He really was. And he was a big part of what gave them so much of what they had through 3 quarters. So we haven't forgotten that. And I do feel like I'm forgetting someone, though. But Alvarado really played well as expected. That's a really, really talented young player. He hit some big shots from the corner, 3 steals, obviously stuff like that. Alvarado's the real deal. And we couldn't overcome it, man. B.I. playing that well, Trigger shooting that well. We can't win against a team when we don't, do what we need to do. I thought we played hard, though. Anthony Davis, LeBron James played very hard, man. Like I said, Russell through 2 quarters was stellar. Troy Brown, I really liked what I saw from him. But we leaned on our guards tonight, and as a result, we lost. Like we always do. So, ain't nothing new, man. It's a loser team. We're in 13th place for a reason. We're exactly who we say we are. And I don't think we're going to finish no better than 500. I don't even know if we make it to 500. Because this team is set up to continue doing what it's been doing. Whether we make this straight or not. I'm telling you, it doesn't matter. With the trades that we're getting, we're going to bring in Joe Harris and Kyrie Irving. It's going to be small ball central no matter what. This is who Darvin is. And until we get ourselves some defensive centers, which is another big problem, he's not going to trust Thomas Bryant. He's not going to trust him. And rightfully so, man. I hate to say it, but I don't really trust him. I can't have a guy 7 feet tall constantly giving up layups to another center, bro. You're too tall to be this bad defensively. And that's what it really comes down to, man. I cannot invest in a guy like that knowing that it's going to be a turnstiles every time someone drives at the rim. Or it's going to be an automatic foul and 1 every time someone drives at the rim. You can't hit enough buckets to make that make sense to me, Thomas. And I'm just going to be honest with you. So if it's up to me, we're trading him for somebody who can help us in that way. I need a defensive, offensive, 2-way center right now. I really need that, because if we don't have that, we're not going to be able to have a center on the floor that coach trusts. Because that's the key. And we're going to always be small. But you need to find somebody you trust. If that's Nerlens Noel, God, I hope it ain't. But if it's somebody like that, you just got to bring him in. Because at the end of the day, what I'm seeing here is us setting ourselves up to be AD and Bron centric as far as our bigs. And you could try a little Rachi Moore, you could try Troy Brown, but it ain't enough. It's not enough. If you don't get you a Vanderbilt or somebody that can really match up with these Jones guys, you're not going to be successful in the playoffs. As you got to have somebody for the Brandon Clarks. And so our coach would likely put, Dennis Schroeder on Brandon Clark, and that would be the end of our series. I hate that it's going this way with Darvin Ham, man. I hate that it's going this way. I wish I believed that everything that I'm seeing from him was directly from him, so I could feel good about what I'm feeling. But I'm honestly not sure. I've watched 4 coaches run the same crap over and over again. I have to think it's Genie and the guys behind the table who just want to see small ball and what comes with it. Because if I'm not to believe that, and I'm to believe that Darvin Ham is really running this stuff the way that he's running it, if this is his choices, I don't believe in him no more. That's what it really comes down to. I don't believe in his upside or nothing. If this is coming from his brain, all of this, it's bad, man. This ain't head coaching stuff, bro. This is not head coaching stuff. This is the opposite of what you do when you're trying to succeed. And I don't care how many people you get to believe in you to run through a wall for you. If you got them running through the wrong wall, what are we talking about? And that's what it really comes down to. I got to know that you're leading us in the right direction. And this is absolutely the opposite. You know what I mean? This is the opposite. This is everything but. And our situation, our window is too short for what it is we're trying to do in this short amount of time, for what it is we're talking about mortgaging. This is something that we can't allow to be the reason all of it is worthless. And that's what Genie and everybody has to be honest about. Whoever is in charge of the scheme on this floor, we got to change it. We got to change it, man. I told y'all to fire Frank Vogel 3 weeks in this season last year. I'm not telling you to fire Darvin Ham right now. I'm telling you to fire him if this is his idea. If this is your idea, then take the handcuffs off of this coach and allow him to do what makes sense to him so that we can see a team down there that can run and win for you. Because as long as he's leaning on these minutes for these little guards, you're going to see yourself all the way to the end of the season. You're not going to be successful. However that looks, whether you miss the playoffs or whatever, you're not going to win the championship. That's what it's going to boil down to. So that part has never been more clear to me than after watching this basketball game tonight. That's it. So that's what I have to say. I don't think it's deeper than that. If I'm going to give the game ball to anybody, it would obviously be Brandon Ingram. He was the best player on the floor for the winning team. I would give it to Anthony Davis with the 14 rebounds and 30-plus points as well. He was very helpful, but we didn't win, man. I don't want to get in the habit of giving us the game ball just because we played well enough for one guy or two guys. Nah, we want to win games, man. We want to win basketball games, and we continue to fail to do that in very embarrassing ways. And this was yet another one. When you got a double-digit lead at halftime and you proceed to just allow yourself to have size mismatches all over the floor, all the way into a close game that you just let go by the wayside by not getting enough stops for the same damn reason. Same reason. You didn't get enough stops. If you look at what happened tonight, it was really came down to the field goals. They shot better field goals. And why? Size mismatch. That's it. So, I respect our team. We ran hard, man. I'm not really mad at the players, even the ones who were out there not so efficient. It wasn't for lack of effort, but at the tail end of a road trip, maybe you want to talk about fatigue. Okay, I'll give them that. But LeBron James looked great, slashing into the paint and playing a smooth and slick game through first half. I thought he was, laying the ball up and dunking the ball as well as he ever had. So he didn't look like he was on the tail end of a road trip. So I just know what went wrong there. It wasn't a lack of energy. It wasn't none of that. It was just who was on the floor for how long, next to whom, asked to do what. BDL 44. I thank you all for watching. I'm out.